I thank everybody for joining us. I'm kind of excited to be talking about postal code targeting, and that's what you're going to see Nate demonstrating. And so, but let's just roll right into here. Um, Let me know, make sure the slides are going the way they should be going. Okay, so why postal code targeting? And I apologize for anyone who may not understand the term postal code targeting. In direct mail, a lot of us know about a neighborhood mail, which is unaddressed mail. Um, so that's where you want to cover an entire neighborhood, a city, a country. So think of your more national flyers. The brick flyer might be a good one to think about on that, or yeah, Telus or Shaw. When they're trying to encourage you to sign up for their cell phones. More of a national presence. Personalized mail is what we are talking with Daniel about when you want to send a newsletter or a mail piece to a certain address on your database. So you have a person, a company contact, possibly if you're business to business, or if it's to residential, you have the name of the person as well as their address. So it'd be personalized mail. Postal code targeting takes this funny little spot right in between. It allows you to actually look at your database and say, I'm very interested in the neighbors of my customers. I want that look-alike audience. I, I do lawn care services, let's say, and I'm hitting two people on the same street. I'd love to hit the other people. Well, if you did neighborhood mail, you'd actually have to hit possibly the whole community of say 300, 400, 500 homes. Whereas if you do postal targeting, we can narrow it down to hit the people on that exact street, across from that street, behind, like, a small community. We can go from say 10 to 14 households to 30 to 40, depending on how the targeting works. So postal targeting has this funny little spot in there that works really well. And the reason we're having the conversation today is Nate's going to be demonstrating how we have an online tool that uses the power of the postal code. But the same demonstration he's going to give, you can use that for the other products that online products that we sell as well. So postal code targeting is a fast, reliable delivery. It travels in the mainstream of mail. So you're looking at, instead of a neighborhood mail that could take the full 5 to 8 days to travel across the country, it's traveling with the addressed mail, which is the 3 to 5 days. Minimum 150 households. Even though I mentioned to you that we can go down to 10 to 15, when we do a campaign, we're looking at about a minimum of 150 households. Target any 6-digit postal code. Canada Post has this amazing um, book of knowledge when it comes to what is in a household, how much that person makes or the household makes, number of occupants, education, their habits, their spending. So for us to narrow down to a 6-digit postal code, far greater. When we're talking a postal code here, we are talking a true 6-digit postal code. When you're talking social media, so digital marketing, you're not talking a full 6-digit postal code. You're talking a 3-digit postal code, which is a huge difference. Online PCT audience building. We're going to go into the demo for that. All-in-one print design and postage. That's what we're going to demonstrate today with our product Post Now. And for Daniel, we were talking about the postal code targeting for businesses as well. So 4 key benefits of using postal code targeting. Expand into new markets. Identify the postal codes that match the profile of your ideal prospects. This is something that we're really good helping our customers with. Our customer management team, they'll sit down, they'll have that conversation with you to understand who you're trying to target, where you're trying to target them. Optimize your targeting. By having that conversation, we're able to understand which geographic area, demographic, and then lifestyle insights we need to layer over the area that you're looking for to narrow it down. So we're not coming back to you and saying, for you to hit this audience, let's say with Fatima for Tax Assist, we understand every household in Edmonton needs to do their taxes, but she might have an ideal customer in mind. She might have a certain price point of a customer that will that if they're of this household with this income, they most likely have investments. They most likely at a certain age have a little bit more complex of a, if we're talking tax returns, of a tax need. So that's a more ideal customer. That's how we would help narrow down 330,000 Edmonton households down into a neat, tidy little 5,000 or 10,000 piece campaign that would be hitting people that would most likely respond because of the how we personalize the mail piece or customize it to the message based on the targeting. And that's where we go into the maximize your acquisition efforts. Is of course all this makes it so that your return on investment can be the highest possible. So when we talk about the demographics, interests and behaviors, address attributes, life change, and lifestyle, this is how we can target it. It's amazing the depth that we can go. Here's some of the popular ones. So in the case of demographics, it's age, so age of the homeowner, family size. We can actually get down to if it's one child, two children, three children, and higher. Household income is a great one, especially when you're trying to sell hot tubs. Let's say you want to make sure that you're targeting homes that have the economics capability of just buying it. Occupation. I won't read everything, of course, just some highlight ones. Address attributes. So do they rent or do they own? If you're a realtor and you're looking to sell gather some new prospects, you might be wanting to look at renters who have a decent household income. If you were selling a product to that household, you would not be looking for renters. If you were selling, say, selling an item that the homeowner would buy, not the renter. Home value, period of construction. Period of construction is great when it comes to windows and doors, so renovations would be a good one to know there. I'm going to skip over interests and behaviors just for a little bit of time savings here, but right into the life stage and lifestyle. Movers, retirement, Prism clusters. That's a whole nother conversation when we get into that, but this gives you a really good idea of the fact that we can target deep into the person, into their life's change, life stage or lifestyle. So if it's someone that's retiring, then you might be sending again a message out related to what they would be doing at the next stage of their life. So the right message at the right time for the right audience is what we're talking about here with direct mail. Targeting is crucial to your campaign. The first step of creating a successful campaign is to target the right audience. That's the conversation that we have with our customers that they really enjoy. The fact that when I say they enjoy the fact that they come to a place that explains it to them, takes the mystery out of how do I find the right people. I say that Edmonton's 330,000 households. It is too big for you to kind of say, okay, I want to pick this area and this area. We can go much finer in that. We can get right down to going into an area of Riverbend or Twillard or Windermere and say, here's why your product is ideal for this area based on the information you fed to us. And digital versus DM, I'm going to hand the conversation over to Nate at this point and let him walk through a little bit of this for us.
Thanks, Greg. So, as Jas mentioned, I'm Nate. I have a digital marketing agency, and we do a lot of web development and online marketing. That's the Google ad space and the Facebook space, and a lot of these online marketing channels where targeting is pretty awesome, but there are some downsides, and I think that's what's important to see where does direct mail targeting really differ and add advantages versus digital. The biggest one to me is the geographic limitations of digital. At best, most platforms will let you, well, all. The most granular you can get is either a 1 kilometer radius from a point or a 3-digit postal. And I'm going to show the area of a 3-digit postal code, but I'm in Edmonton as well. I'm in the T5T postal code. There are 27,000 households in the T5T area. So simply being able to narrow down by a 3-digit postal code is awfully broad and still oftentimes doesn't define your audience. So uh, online is also auction, and as many of you know that have run digital ads know, the costs can kind of jump around, and that's because the auction is based on who you're targeting, how many people are targeting that same person, and who's willing to pay the most to get their ad in. Direct mail differs. Postage rate is always the same for the chosen direct mail campaign to do, which is a really nice, consistent way to plan your marketing. You don't have to worry about costs going up and down and what's really going on with your competition. There's also digital privacy laws in online that make it harder and harder to target every single um, audiences that you used to be able to target on Facebook and other social channels. They don't exist anymore. They've had to be removed due to privacy concerns. And there's always my biggest issue with digital advertising, as I think a lot of us feel, is it can feel awfully creepy and invasive when you get into really targeted campaigns where people feel like you're following them or you're somehow into their device. There's size constraints. Most audiences online have to be a minimum of 1,000 people, and that's an expensive audience. You don't deal with that same constraint with a direct mail campaign, and with the tools we're going to show you, you can pick your people all over one city, multiple cities, multiple provinces, and still do it effectively for your. Next slide, Craig. There are, of course, advantages of digital marketing. I'm not going to go through this. I think the biggest ones are that it's always evolving and getting better. Direct mail is as well. And then probably the biggest advantage of your digital marketing, a lot of it is based on interests and demographic interests over demographic. And so people come and go out of interest buckets far faster than on digital, and so that is an ever evolving audience, and it is a nice way to. Next slide. Okay, we're gonna. I want to get into actually building some real audiences inside of Post now, showing you different stuff there. Craig, are we sending this deck out to people? We can if they want. We'll make that available if you want to see it. There is kind of the ways that you can target. I think the biggest ones here is if you're looking at something like LinkedIn, it's astronomically expensive on a cost per click basis when you're doing B2B. And finding those right people is very dependent on if they're the type of professionals that are actually active on LinkedIn or just have a.
Right.
With B2B targeting in direct mail, you can at least get to the right business and get your direct mail in their hand with some of the targeting tools, including postal code targeting. It's just a slightly different process. Yeah, I think we'll just jump on to the next slide. So we're going to come back to this slide at the end, but for all of you that have attended today, Mail Power 25 is a coupon code that if you put in a campaign order through Post Now and use that, you'll get 25% off. That's on print and design, as well as we're covering in 25% off Post too. So this is like a very rare offer. I'm going to jump and share my screen now. We're going to look at some actual examples. All right. I think most of you would have seen Post Now if you registered. I'm gonna log into my account here. And the goal of today is I want to show you guys how to build postal code targeting audiences, as well as use some of our audience builders to put together quick, powerful, properly targeted direct mail campaigns that are also cheaper than dealing with a mail house tradition. So oftentimes there's a lot of weird costs that go into putting together a direct mail campaign if you try to do it yourself. And we've streamlined that process to make it easy for your print, your design, and your postage to be included in a single platform. Really easy to save audiences, to upload data, and then you can kind of plan out your audiences and your campaign costs before you ever even have to talk. So I want to poke, some of you haven't seen this too much, and so under direct mail, there's the campaign builder that you'll see once you log in. There's also a smart mail cost calculator. And this will give you a really quick snapshot of what a campaign will cost based on your volume. So if you're sending out a 1,600 piece campaign and you wanted to do personalized mail and send a letter, you've got your price per piece for print and design, as well as your postage rate. So you're at about $1 a piece at 1,600. As you go up, those prices will shift. And so it's all very fast to put together, what you want to spend on a campaign. And that covers it for as well postal code targeting, as well as neighborhood mail. We're going to look at this audience builder, and got this audience builder. You can build a few different audiences in here, and once you build an audience, you can use it for any of your direct mail campaigns. You can also build an audience when you build a campaign, and so you don't have to do this before. You can do it during the campaign process. This is a little bit quicker today. So we're going to do a demo PCT audience start. And I'm going to give you a scenario here that I'm a furnace company and I sell, furnaces and AC units. And what I want to do is, normally my guys would install a furnace or do a tune-up on a piece of equipment, and then they'd go and leave door knockers on everybody's door in that little area, the neighbors. So they might get 2 on either side, 1 on either side. And this is a real client that uses the system for this. What they found is that the risk of a slip and fall, especially during the winter, was too high to keep doing those door knocks. One slip and fall meant, thousands of dollars of lost revenue, and so it just didn't make sense. But with this tool, what they do is every week they come in and they build a new postal code targeted audience. So I'm picking postal code targeting, and I'm going to do it with our bulk postal code lookup. And so they only want to target houses and farms. They're okay with farms if it's in the area. And so what they do is they take all the jobs that they did for the last week. So in this case, I've got 100 postal codes here. I could do this with as few or as many as I want here, but I'm going to do 100 to start. And so this is the jobs, all the jobs they did. I'm going to paste them into this box, and I'm going to fetch the count. Click the button, give it a few moments, and it returns a value. So this is the exact number of households that you can target within these postal codes with a postal code targeting campaign. So I'm at 2,987. If I was happy with that, I could add that to my audience that I'm building, and it'll come into my total audience size. Here's my finalized audience postal codes, and I can then reset this, and I can keep adding new ones. So if I wanted to add, let's go to add another one here. I'm just going to do 1. It'll pull 16 households in this postal code, and so that we can verify that. Got this open here. So if you in Google Maps, open up Google Maps, type in a postal code, Google Maps will outline all of the houses or the dwellings inside of that postal code. So as you can see here, I've got 16 different addresses inside of this little chunk that I could target. So our system lets you target that little chunk of home with this building. So I can add this postal code to my finalized audience. It brings me up just over 3,000. If I scroll down, I can see what this campaign audience would cost if I wanted to send a campaign to it. My print cost for various print formats, be it a postcard, a letter, a folded postcard, as well as my postage. And so if I'm happy with this audience, which I am, I'm just going to save it. This is now a postal code targeted audience that I could build a direct mail campaign with in a few minutes. And so this, if I look at my audiences, I should see. There's that demo PCT audience we just built with my 3,000 names in it. This is now available. There's going to be a question, can I target businesses this way? Yes, kind of. Right now, our system is tied into Canada Post API, and so that's why we can get the results really, really quickly when you type stuff in. They have not made that available for businesses yet, and so while we can still get counts of available addresses inside of a postal code for a business, it just has to be done a little bit manually, and it can take a few. And so, Daniel, for yourself, and this is why I had asked you a question, is if your customers are grouped together, but it sounds like they're not. right? But if they were, and you were trying to hit the neighbors, the business neighbors of your customers, postal code targeting lets you do that. And it lets you, then you can send out very strong messaging in your direct mail campaign that talks about, we help your neighbors, or there's already a thought that they may have heard of you, that they're probably more relevant than just kind of blanketing an entire business or a business area that would fall under a neighborhood mail route. So that is one of the neat things that you can do with postal code targeting. Craig mentioned Prism Data, and I do want to bring this up before we build our next campaign, our next audience. And what I want to do is the next audience, we're going to target a condo build. And one of the neat things about postal codes that a lot of people don't know is every condo building or apartment building generally has its own unique postal code. And so with one postal code, you can target an entire condo building in a campaign. And so you'll have far more than 16 households. You could have a couple hundred depending on the size of that building. But Prism Data is postal code level, 6-digit postal code level data that gives you insight into the people that live within a postal code. And so Prism has a bunch of different, what they call clusters of people. And we can use this data to help build hyper targeted direct mail campaigns using postal codes to target like type of audience. So this one, for example, this is, I think most of you are in Edmonton. And have you all seen the Pearl Tower downtown? That's one of the newest big super tall towers in Edmonton here. This guy, you can pretty much see it across the city now. That postal code is T5K1P1. I want to target this building. So I'm going to copy this. I've already got it here. We'll just do it again. So this gives me a bunch of really interesting data about this postal code. It tells me, younger, well-educated urban signals. I get an average household income, average net worth, whether they rent and own, which they call a mix, diversity index, general education. It tells me kind of a little bit about who they are and how they think. They're downtown, so of course this is going to be pretty relevant and easy to kind of spot the type of people that would live in that. We can get how they live, what they do, and so these type of audiences can oftentimes dictate a really strong interest type of audience that certain retail or businesses find as a valuable way to target the right people with the right message at the right. So if they're into food and drink and restaurants and these various things, then as the festivals come back online, it becomes a good opportunity to target this type of. So back to post. Let's build this audience and let's target that condo building and see how many units are in. So let's go. I'll pick PCT, postal code targeting again. And this time we're going to, we'll do the address postal code lookup. Sometimes we don't know the postal code of the area or what we want to target. We might have an address, but we don't have the actual, we don't have the postal code. I do, we're still going to go this way. So I can start typing this in and it will auto-complete. And then same thing, it will find the exact number of households available within that condo or that address, the postal code of that address. In this case, it's 182. So I can click the button to add this to my audience. This is now part of my audience. And so I'm going to keep this one pretty tiny. One of the nice things with postal code targeting is the audiences can be very small. Your print costs do go up per piece, but this includes your design and all the work needed. Your postage rate stays the same. We'll save this audience. Money here. Now that this is saved, we can look at audiences, see where it is. There's my condo audience now available to use for campaigning. The final audience I want to do is I would like to build a neighborhood audience that we can hear. And all this loads. I talked about the 3-digit postal code and how tiny and precise that was, and this being what I think is the biggest advantage of direct mail right now for businesses doing marketing. Um, Marketing costs online have increased almost 40% during the pandemic, um, as to what a cost per lead is for a lot of business. And we're continuing to see the shift of more businesses moving to online over the past 10 years, which has driven up costs of advertising online. And it's what's interesting is that that's made direct mail a very strong option for high ROI marketing campaigns, especially if you leverage the rest of your marketing strategy with it and don't, this is a good addition. Um, we're not seeing the cost per lead rise in direct mail. If anything, it's going down because there's less competition in the mailbox. And with the ability to create these hyper targeted campaigns, you don't have to send out as many direct mail pieces if you target correctly versus what you used to, which brings your overall campaign cost. So that is the number one thing. If we look at, and this is Precision Targeter on Canada Post site, but if we look at T5P, I'd already done this search to save some time. It takes a while to use this tool and get it, but this is an outline of the T5P 3-digit postal code area in Edmonton. And we were looking at that one little cluster of 16 homes over here. Overall, I've got 27,000 homes. And for those of us that know Edmonton, I've got Westridge and Wolf Willow here. I've got Collingwood here. I've got the West Edmonton Mall area. And you've got a really big mix of high end to low end income people. They don't really fit in the same bubble of for a lot of marketers their product. But Precision Targeter would let you target, and same thing with an online tool, they would let you target all of the people within this large of a radius or an area. And Neighborhood Mail lets us do that as well. So what we're going to do is, now that you've got context size, and actually a little bit more context, each of these little different color walkways, those are different Canada Post walks. They usually contain 300 to 500 dwellings. And so each one of those is considered a neighborhood walk. And when you do a neighborhood targeted campaign, what you're doing is you're targeting everybody in a walk at a time. And so you could send 300 or 1,000 and you might get, 2 to 3 walks and you go up from there. So you can target in specific areas. You just can't target down to like little pockets of, the neighbors of your existing customers or that perfect street that has multi-million-dollar homes versus right beside it being the average home area. This is the value of postal code targeting for small businesses that really know their geographic area. So anyway, let's do this neighborhood mail. So neighborhood mail demo audience. I just want to show you how fast we've tried to make. We understand that mapping and trying to look at maps and back to this precision targeter, this is not very intuitive as to what I'm supposed to do. And so we wanted to take that away from you guys to make it easier. So when you build an audience, select neighborhood mail, tell us how many people you want this audience to include. I'm going to go 2,500. This name. We have the Canada Post Precision Targeter demographics here. So you can select particular demographics you want us to filter by. So I'll pick an income level. I want to pick an age category, and I'm going to go by ownership as well. So ownership, I want homeowners. I prefer to target a little bit of an older audience with whatever my product is here, and so I'm going to go with 41s to 80-year-olds as the predominant people in that neighborhood, and I'm going to go with mid to high income households. And so once I've done that, I can scroll down, see again how much this campaign would cost with 2,500 people in it. I'm about $1,000 for a postcard, including postage, print, mail for 2,500 people. And if I'm happy with this, I would just save the audience. If I'm like, that's a little bit more than I wanted to spend, let's just bring this down to 2,000. Then that'll update in the table, and so I'm down to 880. I'm going to save this audience. What happens is that we get this request and we will build your audience for you that matches what you've selected, so that when you build your campaign, you don't have to worry about the mapping part. You would just tell us where you wanted that audience to be, which I forgot to fill that box in, but whether that's a 3-digit postal code or a neighborhood or a 6-digit postal code and you want an area around it, we'll do all the hard work for you so that you just have to tell us where and let us use our expertise to make sure we're targeting. The nice thing is with our account managers, um, we're able to support what you're looking for and provide recommendations that will help your campaign better if we feel that the targeting may not be exactly what you're thinking it's going to turn out. So, as a final thing here, if anyone has questions, feel free to toss your hand up in the chat or just start talking, and I'll be happy to address them. What I want to do is I want to build a campaign, and we're just going to pick one of these audiences that we've pre-built so we can show you how fast it is to build a campaign with an existing audience or one that you've built and that you now want. So let's do sample PCT campaign. So we've been working on this tool for almost 2 years now. Actually, I think a little bit over 2 years, and it's gone through a lot of trial and error to see how can we make ordering a direct mail campaign as easy as possible for small businesses that don't understand what size should it be, what's the best practices for my industry, what should I really be doing for a personalized mail versus a direct mail, or sorry, a neighborhood mail. This campaign here, and at this point we're down to a few minutes to put a campaign together, and then our account managers take care of everything for you. So we're going to do a postal code targeting campaign. I'm going to select my induction date. This is the date that we deliver to Canada Post for you. It takes us about a 5-day production window from data, design, and printing. So we're pretty quick there. We're going to use one of our existing audiences. And so I'll find my existing audiences that we built. There's that demo PCT audience. There's the condo PC demo. So if I pick demo PCT, it'll fill in my quantity. I get that exact same pricing that I saw. I can then pick the format that I'd like. I'm going to do a postcard in this situation. It'll load our template gallery full of various postcard options that match what you want to do. You can pick one that you want to do, and we're just going to go quick here. If you did have a design ready to go, you had your own letter or a postcard ready to go, you can upload it here, and we'll take care of any print adjustments for you. But in this case, I'm just going to agree to my terms, generate the campaign, and it'll take me to a checkout page where I can pay for this campaign. I'm done. I can move on to either leaving requests for the design changes I want to see on the template that I've selected, or I can wait for my account manager to reach out and confirm the campaign order. Checkout takes 15 to 30 seconds here, so this will just take a bit to load up. But what we're doing is we generate a proofing project for you. So those of you that may have done a direct mail with us will probably have used our proofing portal. That lets us here. That lets us communicate with you, and you communicate with us really effectively on your mail template and getting it from start to finish as fast. Once this is paid for, I am ready to leave changes on my design here, and so it'll load that design template. There's my sample. So there's the name of the campaign that we just built, the template that I selected. It loads it in. I can jump into this with the view button and click on an image and then start requesting change. Change this to my logo, comment. This goes to the design team, and they're able to replace everything that you want. You can upload files to this and everything. So I think the one thing that we didn't really cover is personalized mail. And so if you are doing personalized mail where you have a customer list, our campaign builder was actually built for that originally. So that's the last audience type we're going to talk about because there isn't a lot of work with this one. So this is a demo PM campaign. So same thing, select your induction date. If you have your data file, just click the use my customer data. You tell us how many names are in it, 1600. It'll give you the cost for various formats. So whether it's a letter or a postcard or invitation that you're sending to them, you would then select which one you'd like. So I'm going to do a letter this time. It'll load our template gallery and filter by the various options available. Pick this real estate, go with this letter here. I would then upload my data if it was ready right through here, and this goes to our team to clean up. We would select file, Excel file here. You select us to clean it up. We run it through the national change of address to make sure that there's no deceased people on it or people that have moved outside of your area. That way we reduce having to send extra mail pieces, and that's done complimentary for you when you upload a new data list. And then there's a data retention policy if that's important for you. Agree to the terms of the campaign, and then click the button to generate the campaign and check out. Done. So again, it's one of those tools that we want it to be easy. Let us do all of the hard work. You know who you want to do. We'll work with you on your template design, but whether you use one of ours or your own or custom, it all fits into the post now. That's pretty much the demo in terms of how the audiences work inside of Post Now. And at this time, we'll just open it up to anyone that's got any questions. If you don't have any questions, feel free to stick around for the Q&A or hop off as you want. We'll send out information regarding that offer code to everybody that attended today, as well as if you'd like a recording, that'll be made available on YouTube, as well as on the Post Now site to watch this.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think we're kind of right on schedule as to what we planned the meeting for. And Daniel, if you want, we'll reach out and just start the conversation as to some ideas we have for what we've seen work successfully.